Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another session of Ask Zak, of course with myself, Zak, and my trusted colleague, Sean.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to a very interesting day again.
Now, tonight we will be looking at basic layer management. Now, that is very crucial. We see so many mistakes being made when it comes down to managing your layers. A lot of these things coincide, whether you've got battery chickens or layer chickens. All these principles you'll be able to pull through. So first and foremost, of course, a happy animal, a healthy animal is a productive animal. So a lot of times when we get onto a farm and we look at our animals, at the animals that the farmer has, we are looking at their basic condition. We want to see healthy animals. They must be moving around, they must be alert, they must be awake, they must be consuming water and feed and not be lethargic. We always say with our broilers, constant temperature equals to constant growth. Now a lot is the same to be said with our layers. It's just a little bit easier. We're looking at constant temperature. A layer is at its happiest at around about 24 degrees Celsius. So when you start going over that, you're going to experience some challenges, and when you dip lower than that, you're going to experience some more challenges as well. So just be aware. Something that a lot of farmers don't do, and I don't think they understand it fully, is of course the curtain system that you've got on your farm. Now, very important with the curtains is that's our main tool of determining temperature inside the house, because if we close it, it's going to build up heat inside and it's going to become warmer, and if we lower it, we're going to allow the fresh air to come in and cool the area. Now, just something that we see is people think those two curtains need to be worked simultaneously exactly the same. No, it's not like that. We work them independently. You're looking at where your prevailing wind is coming from. Let's say your wind is coming from this side. We close up this side of the house, and the other side we open up to allow the fresh air to come in. And you can see how my hands are going up and down. We prefer it, of course, when your curtains lower from the top to the bottom. Main reason is we want the cool air to enter at the top, mix in with the warm air and lower down to your chickens. A direct wind, a direct breeze is going to stress your layers, and this layer doesn't like change and they don't like stress, and that's going to influence your production drastically. So try and keep your environment as stable as possible, because then your animals will stay healthy and they will be productive. Now, when we're looking at, of course, Sean, when we get to our animals itself, how do we measure our layers? How do we know whether they're on condition, whether they're not, and how do we go about the process?
Well, Zak, very important. Each and every layer farmer needs to pay attention to their weight, how they look. We have a condition score. It needs to look good for it to give you eggs. So for you to get to know where you are in your production, you need to weigh your chickens and you need to find out how old they are. But then very important, we have something called age by date and age by weight for your chickens. Very important part is the age by weight. Pay attention to the age by weight. If they're not at the right age, please do not move to the second stage or to the upcoming stage. But then, very important, just because they're 18 weeks doesn't mean, and their weight is not at the right place, please consider them not at the right age. So, right weight will give you the right eggs, and you will be in the right level to give you the right feed. And then, this is how you keep up with your weights. Very important, if you're doing well, what you need to do every month, you need to weigh your chickens. Obviously, if you have 10,000 chickens or 5,000 chickens, it's going to be a little bit difficult situation. So the best option is always use a sample size. We recommend the 10% sample size. If you can get to 20%, very good. It gives you a little bit more information, but 10% is also good enough. Very important. Weigh them every month, and then if you've had a situation where you've lost condition and you want to return to a good condition, rather give them the right feed, and then when you're giving them the right feed, weigh them every week so you can see your level of production and your level of growth. Because if you don't weigh them every week, you will not have a better idea of where you are, if you're going forward or if you're staying at the same place or going backwards. Yeah, that's very important.
So just another thing that we sometimes do when we're in the field and we don't have a scale with us, we catch the chicken and we feel the breastbone. If it stands out like a knife, that animal is going to be under condition. Then we immediately start asking for your weight charts, where are they, what stage of growth they are in, so that we can determine the best course of action. With all these things, when we get to your farm, first thing we always look for is, of course, a foot bath. Now, a foot bath is one of the parts when it comes down to biosecurity. Now, last season we experienced the bird flu that's been carried by wild birds. So first and foremost, limit the amount of people, limit the amount of people working inside your poultry house. You just want a certain person or certain persons to access that house. Remember, a disease can get stuck to your boots. So when you walk into your poultry house, you can actually bring in a disease via your boots. So that's why we're looking at foot bath in front of your house. That will help keep diseases out. And of course, on the bird department, very important, we always put that mesh around our poultry house. We don't want wild birds to get access. There's a lot of nice feed inside the house. Wild birds love it, but they carry the avian influenza. So if we can stay as far away as possible from wild birds in our poultry houses, it will be better for you as a farmer. So always mesh around about your poultry house, and of course disinfect. You can't disinfect enough. I would say you disinfect your hands, your boots. Here by us, on our farm, we shower in. We don't even go in with our normal clothes. We get clothes that's provided by the rearing site, so that we don't bring in any foreign bacteria or disease into the poultry house. So biosecurity is crucial for you to be successful as a poultry farmer, and especially layers. Now, Sean, a little bit earlier you mentioned switching over to feed and the right feed at the right time. What feeds are we looking at, and why are we looking at different feeds when it comes down to layers?
Well, Zak, here at our zoo, we keep what we call the laying mesh 95. The laying mesh 95 is what we give to our point of lays. Point of lays, we always say they are 18 weeks old, but you give them LM95, laying mesh 95, only if they're the right weight and the right age by date. So as soon as you reach about 36 weeks and the correct weight, then you can move to what we call a laying mesh 105. But one thing also to consider, all these laying mesh that we offer for you, they come in different textures. We have them in mesh, crumbs and pellets. So what we always recommend is mesh for your caged birds. Reason being, mesh keeps them a little bit busy. When they're in their cages, they need to keep a little bit busy so that they don't get frustrated from each other. And then we recommend your pellets and or crumbs for your free range, because they walk a little bit around, so they can pick up, they are more comfortable picking up little pieces of feed. So rather than the mesh, and they will mess up the mesh sometimes. So Zak, that is the most important situation. Please use the right feed at the right time, or at the end of the day, you will be making a whole mess for your own production. Very, very important, Zak.
Just to add on what Sean said, the layer 95 is designed for animal that still needs to grow and produce eggs. So you're looking at a little bit more expensive feed, but it's high in protein content because they need to put up that meat, they need to put that structure onto their bodies. So we get a lot of farmers, those chickens are point of lay, they start laying and then they switch over to the 105. Now the 105 is a maintenance feed. It's designed for a bird that's already fully developed and on condition. And what happens all of a sudden is that little bird that's still growing tries to get the nutrients, but there's not enough nutrients. And all of a sudden you see a drastic fall when it comes down to your egg production. And that's why it's so important to use the right feed at the right time. Now, there's a lot for us to say and a lot of information, but that's why we've got information sessions at our branches. Now, Sean, where are you this week?
Well, Zak, this week we're at Bronkhorstspruit. Come and join us, have a good day. Just important, always mention yourself, call into the depot and say, I would like a space so we can book up space instead of you pitching and we not have enough space for you. So feel free to come in Bronkhorstspruit this Thursday the 7th and register by 9:30 for us to have a good day and informative day.
And myself, I'll be in Trichard, so our technical teams are busy giving out information. Remember, these information days are free of charge. You only need to register. And the rest we do. We train you, we give you background, give you information to become a more successful farmer. So we've got Bronchospruit this week and of course Trichard this week. So call your nearest Alzu branch. If you're in that area, call them so that you can RSVP. You don't want to be disappointed and rock up late and not get a seat, so that it just helps us with our planning. So stay tuned. Next week, we're going to go into our ruminants. We're going to talk a bit about the sheep and goats. But for anything, I know we talk about certain subjects, but if there's anything, pop into your nearest Alzu one-stop shop. We are there with all the products, all the knowledge, and of course, everything you need under one roof. Sean and the technical team, they're out there in the field. We also do farm visits, which is free of charge for all our farmers. So from my side, thank you. Have a good evening.
And from me, a very much thank you, and let's meet again next week. Cheers.